Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Savvy Sprocket. We are working in the shop today, and things are rather cool. So we got the big old furnace running in there in the corner. And today we're going to be working on a new project, taking a small break from the electric truck to work on this here Bobcat. I picked up this Bobcat to do some work around my house. Just do some regrading work, and was hoping to plow with it, move some snow around this winter. However, time got away from me. As you can tell, I haven't posted a video in a little while. But so we're basically start of February here. You can see there's a lot of snow outside. What we're going to do today is just kind of tear into the Bobcat a little bit more. When I got it, it had the full frame on it, but I've done a little bit of work without filming to kind of just strip it down and dig into it. The engine runs fine, but it does have a bit of a hydraulic leak that I do not know where it's coming from. My guess is it's going to be something to do with one of the drive motors that's located in between the tires, but I'm going to spend some time on it today and see what I can find out. Alright, so the first job I'm going to be working on today is fuel lines. You can see the original kind of metal fuel line for the engine itself had a bunch of fittings. It was leaking. It runs really kind of in the back of the engine, or I guess in front of the engine, where the fuel tank originally sits back up here to the left of the hydraulic tank. So what I'm going to work on is actually basically this hole right here. I'm going to run a new rubber fuel line. I got some new line with a couple fittings that we can make some sharp turns with easily, and I'm going to run that up through there. Now, to be able to do that, if you can see kind of in the back there, the old metal fuel line's still sticking out, which kind of runs behind the fan shroud. And to be able to get back there, I may have to take that heat shield down, which unfortunately is going to involve taking that hose out, which is the radiator hose, and draining the coolant. So we'll dig into it here and see what steps I'm going to have to take. All right, so I did get that gas line out, as you can see. Made a hell of a mess with the coolant. Bit of a issue just taking those pipes off and didn't have the right bucket, but we're moving on. Got speedy dry on that. So over on this side, I just went down and grabbed the gas tank to set that back up there. What I'm gonna do now is cut some lengths of the new fuel line that can run from the fuel shutoff that screws right into the side of the tank down basically in that gap there. Then I'm gonna throw a fuel filter, pipe it through the hole, and then back to where that metal line used to run, kind of out of that hole and behind the engine to the carb. So I have the new fuel line all mocked up. A couple pieces with some clamps and fittings. So now I'm gonna work it back in to try to get it installed, and then the plan is to put a little gas in the tank and just make sure that we have no leaks. It was leaking like a sieve before from quite a few areas, so figure just a whole new line is gonna be much better for us. Okay, so quick off-tripod update. Was able to run that whole new fuel line all the way back and to basically right here, which if you can see then comes down, and that opening right there is where the manual fuel pump is installed. As I was about to hook that new fuel line back up to it, I noticed the top cap was rather loose, and I actually really could not get to it to tighten it back up just to make sure that we're all sealed. And on top of that, there's another short rubber line after the pump that goes directly into the carburetor, kind of on the back side. And I figure while we're already here, you might as well take that pump off and also replace that small line, which is what I did. So over here on the bench, I have the small manual fuel pump. Cleaned it up a little bit, and there's a screen up under that cap that I took off and made sure it was clear. And then this is the small line that needs to get replaced, that comes out of the pump and then into the carburetor. So that's what I'm going to work on now. I'm going to cut a new piece and try to fit it back in. And that is the final clamp. So it was a little bit of a pain to get all those connections made, but I just put the final clamp back on the filter, and I'm gonna throw some gas in it and just let it sit for probably till the next time we're gonna be working on it, just to make sure we don't have any leaks, and we'll be good to move on to the next step.